Spina. Tom, for those out there who don't know who you are, do you want to give a quick little introduction?
Sure. Anybody who's been watching the last couple of days, if you've seen really cool aliens back here, they're ours. So my company does all sorts of different work. It starts with sculpture. We do stuff like sculpting characters and costumes and things like that, and then even really big stuff like a 20-foot tall Statue of Liberty bust and all kinds of fun stuff. And we theme out people's home theaters, and we restore original movie props like some of the original Star Wars props from the original trilogy.
So you say all of these are yours? Like you made all the aliens that have been here?
Not me personally. I've got a big crew, but yeah, I've had a big part. I actually got my start sculpting by sculpting Star Wars aliens. I was a kid, and Star Wars came out, and I was 5, and there was a bar, maybe you've heard of it, full of rubber monsters.
You were a 5-year-old in a bar?
Yes, I was a 5-year-old in a bar full of rubber monsters.
Right.
It was traumatic. But afterwards, it just inspired me to start carving up heads and things like that. And even
you started with like Play-Doh or something?
Oh yeah, there was Play-Doh. I would take paper bags, and other kids would like draw Chewbacca on a bag, and I was like stapling it and folding it and doing like origami or like what do they call it now? Where they do pepakura? Like I was doing staple kura. It was like staples and paper, and I was making C-3PO.
And this was at a time when Star Wars first came out.
Yes.
You weren't able to get Star Wars toys. They were selling the empty box.
Yeah.
So you just made your own.
I was making my own story. I was making the movie in my basement in my mind. That was what was going on.
So how do you go from doing that by yourself to having like, I mean, you're here,
yeah,
right? I mean, your aliens, the Star Wars aliens, you're here on the Cantina.
So hold on, I'm gonna grab. You mind coming over for a second? So this is actually one of the first Star Wars aliens I ever sculpted. It's a little rough. Don't zoom in.
I think it looks great.
We made up a casting just for this shoot because I just thought it was really special and I wanted to have this out here. So this is a character John Berg made for the film.
Yep.
I've always loved it. I love John Berg. He's a lovely, lovely man. And so it's just this really cool ghost face character. And so I sculpted this out of purple clay that I got from a KB Toys in like the late 80s, and made a terrible mold of it. And that mold still exists today. And we made this copy for the shoot, and that's kind of fun. Thanks very much.
That's awesome.
So that's how it starts, and then it was just the internet really is what gave people a chance to see what I was doing. Right,
so you attract people's attention online, and then you start getting a following.
And I had made at one point, literally just for my own amusement, was making various Cantina masks. And I got pretty good at it, and I was obsessed with getting the details right. Yeah, I mean, that's Star Wars fans.
I feel the same.
Yeah.
Right? The attention to details, like, no, it needs to be perfect. You don't understand. It has to be perfect.
It doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be imperfect in the same way the original one was.
Because they weren't perfect when they made it.
No, they were terrible, some of them, but in a wonderful way. No, I love how terrible they were. So we would, I would make these things, and I got to know people like Brian Lewis, who is around somewhere. He's been dressing people all day. Casey Wong, who's out here, he's one of our wranglers. He's been doing this stuff. He's a makeup artist out in LA. And then all the people back at my shop, Patrick Louie and Maria Turan and Melissa Dooley, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
I can't name them all. I'm sorry.
But this is like your Oscars acceptance speech.
But I just, everybody worked really hard on, I had done all this stuff, and we get a call for a Volkswagen Super Bowl commercial.
Really? A couple years ago, right?
Yeah, this is like 2012. And that was the first time we did the Cantina for Lucasfilm.
Was that the Adidas thing?
No,
the Daft Punk thing?
No, because that was just the real one where they matted people in digitally.
Right, you did the real thing.
Yeah, they built the set.
Yes.
We built the aliens, and they shot. It was the follow-up to the Vader Kid ads.
Yes.
And I got a call, and they were like, it was all this garbled message that I couldn't understand, but all I heard was Pablo Hidalgo, Lucasfilm, and Cantina. And I'm calling them back.
Good words.
Calling them back. We made a whole bunch of aliens for that, and then since then, I would say 7 or 8 times now, we've recreated the scene in various degrees. New aliens every time. Making it fun for ourselves.
And we got to work together last year. I got to shoot a video here in the Cantina set, and one of the biggest comments we get on that video is like the aliens. I mean, we're in the Cantina, one, but two, the other thing that sells it is look at those aliens, like look at those costumes. That's the real deal. Where did you find those?
Thanks. We've had people who thought that the Volkswagen spot was shot with like the real stuff, which is like that's the biggest compliment we could get.
It looks exactly like the real stuff. I mean, even your Ponda Baba is missing an arm. And I remember you telling me about a fun story about having both arms for Ponda Baba for the really, really hardcore fans.
Yeah, so if you watch him throughout the weekend, the existing hand will switch from a hoof hand to a monster hand, because the original movie, they shot it one time with the hoof hands, and when they went to shoot the close-up, they're like, how is he holding a gun with a hoof hand? It doesn't make sense. So they just put a monster hand in. So in the final movie, he's technically got two different types of hands.
Yeah.
So we want to represent, we love the details, and so all weekend long, we just keep switching a hand out every couple of scenes.
Can you tell me a bit more about the restoration that you do?
Sure. I'm a big fan of these original props.
Right.
And one of the things that actually built my business up as kind of its own thing and really gave us a hook was that I had developed these techniques to restore old foam latex movie props. And it was something not a lot of people do, and not a lot of people do with the same sort of care we do. We're very concerned with making this stuff not overly redone.
Right.
We don't repaint whole things. If we patch, just a little bit of the cheek, we'll only paint that part we patch, and we make it match perfectly to whatever it's around. Is around it. So we're really
that care for the original work is there.
And that's the whole reason that people collect original props.
Right.
They want a connection to their film. They want a connection to this thing they've seen on screen. They want to look at the screen and go, I own that. That's here. This is in my hand or in my case or whatever.
Yeah.
And we don't want to, frankly, ruin it by covering any of that original stuff. So we've developed this really sympathetic sort of approach to this thing, and it's caught on. We just did the Rick Baker auction for the prop store folks. We restored a whole bunch of stuff for Rick, who's become a friend. I've restored the original wolf from American Werewolf in London.
Wow.
Talk about the other thing that grabbed my childhood brain. Cantina monsters and werewolves, and it was all Rick Baker's fault.
What costume or alien are you most proud of?
Oh.
I know that's hard. It's like choosing your favorite kid.
That's a tough one. I like the goat back here. We just call him the goat. He's there.
Yeah.
Brian Lewis did the sculpture on that, and he did a really good job of making it look fabricated and old and like the original.
Yeah.
I'm also really proud of our band member. I don't know if we can get him to turn around so we don't see the back of his head.
Yeah. And you have a bunch of those.
Yeah, we have a few, but these...
Come on over. Come here.
I don't know if he can see.
Figrin Dan.
So yeah, this is one of these things where we spent a lot of time getting the asymmetry of the head right. Figuring out, that this line isn't straight.
Getting it wrong on purpose.
We're very good at getting it wrong on purpose. Correct. And we also spent a lot of time coming up with a paint scheme that would read on screen the way the originals did.
Right.
He's not too yellowed, he's not too dark, he's got some breakup and little modeling and stuff in here that almost looks like veins under the skin.
Yeah.
Oh, no. And these hands are made by a guy on the RPF for us just recently. We updated our hands. But yeah, so this is one of my favorites as well. Thank you.
One of my favorite things from being on set and in our bonus material was the little, it's basically the opposite of a vacuum. You were pumping air into the mouth, into the tiny little mouthpiece, because the actors in it.
I think one of the things that people don't think about is just how claustrophobic these masks get, and how, especially something like the band member, you've got these eyes they have paint on them, but a little clear section you can see through. Well, that fogs up within about a minute of being in the mask. Yeah. So whatever you could do to get air into these things, we just, we haven't lost anyone yet, and knock on wood, we're not gonna.
I'm sure. I hope you have insurance for that.
Yes, yeah.
We haven't lost anyone yet.
Do you have mask insurance? Call your agent.
Do you make? Do you sell anything to the public?
No, this is now stuff that we're doing really just for these professional gigs. We try and
for Lucasfilm. You do it for Lucasfilm.
Well,
right.
I figured it's okay to make it for them.
They're a pretty good client to have.
They're not bad. They're not bad. The other cool thing that's come out of this is, and I guess we're supposed to the Cantina panel that Pablo and I just did. Speaking of Lucasfilm, so we just did a panel called "The Secrets of the Cantina," and in it we showed dozens and dozens of photos that no one has ever seen before from the original Star Wars and from the making of. Oh, he's had a few too many. All right, no more for him. And we showed some behind-the-scenes video that no one's ever seen before.
Right.
So that was really cool.
That's awesome.
We even named a character after one of the members in the audience.
Wow,
So
cool.
someone in the audience now
Cool.
can look at Star Wars and say, like, that guy has a name and it's because of me.
That person needs to punch themselves into Wikipedia.
Somebody was doing it as we were talking. There was like people on their phone and they're like, I'm on it,
Yeah. We're going to get going, but right before we leave, can you give me the website where people can see more of your stuff?
Yeah. So our website is www.tomspinadesigns.com. And you can also find us at Tom Spina Designs on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram. We put up some really cool stuff.
Good. Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are at Star Wars Celebration live here in Anaheim, powered by Verizon on StarWars.com. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere.